Have you ever worried that you might be the cool kid? You wear the latest fashions on top of all the trends. Or have you ever worried you were too much in the mainstream, always so generic, more normal than your friends? Well, we've devised a test to put to rest your fears. There's no need to panic if you lend us your ears. Tonight you can't sleep easy after all that you've heard, 'cause if you like the show, then you're probably a nerd. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all. Canon with Tyler, Kyle, and Boris. So Canon, it's Canon, it's all in Canon.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the It's Canon podcast. It has been a while. It's been a while, and I am so happy to be back. And here we are, we're finally recording. I am shocked at how good I'm sounding right now, but you know what? We'll see how long this lasts. I am very happy that I have a mute button right beside me today. As always, I am one of your hosts. I'm Boris.
Blah, 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 blah. I'm Tyler. It is good to be back.
Yeah, it feels really good. And of course, the curse has taken over. For any of our new listeners, anytime that we've come back from a hiatus, something has happened. One of us have been sick. Something, our technology breaks. Something happens. But we're powering through. We're making sure that we get an episode out there because, we gotta jump back on the saddle and make it a weekly thing. And so before we start, I do want to apologize if the sound quality isn't the best. If for anyone who knows me, knows that I pride myself on having perfect sound when it comes to the actual podcast. But because of unforeseen circumstances, aka my entire apartment flooding and everything being destroyed, I've lost all of my recording equipment. So right now I'm making do with what I have. We will get back to our awesome sounding podcasts soon enough. But
very smooth podcast.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, not to throw Boris under the bus, but the majority of the bad things that happened to you.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that. I knew exactly you were going to say that.
No, it was like audience listeners. Like, welcome back. But it's been crazy, the number of messages I've gotten from Boris of like, well, my house is on fire. This might as well happen. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The worst was in the summer, the flood. Yeah, everything was destroyed, including my comic collection.
I think you've actually hit, like, the 10 plagues. Yep,
I think so. And the final plague being I lost my comic collection, my own firstborn children. Just taking a moment there. No, but, it is what it is. I'm not crying or I'm not, upset about it. I'm safe. Things could have been a lot worse. I could have lost a lot more. Luckily I was able to stay somewhere for the duration of time that my apartment was being repaired. And here we are. We are back. No, it feels really, really good. And I'm so shocked at how long I'm able to talk right now without going in a coughing fits.
Adrenaline.
Exactly. So we have so much to go over. We are back. It's the It's Canon podcast where we talk all things everything. All things geek, all things comics, all things toys, all things RPGs, all things board games, all things books, all things movies, all things everything and anything that you can imagine. And Tyler, do you know what the best part of it all is?
Nah, I've forgotten. It's been too long.
It's all in canon. There we go. There we go. No, it feels really good being back. It's funny. Every so often, every few months, it's been 15 months or so since we've done an episode or so, maybe a little more.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Every few months, I would get this barrage of emails, aka when I actually check the It's Canon podcast or the podcast email, and it's like, where are you guys, etc. And it's like, you know what? I'm at a point in my life again where I have the time to commit to this, and it was always fun. Like I always said, this show was a distraction. This show was just about me, talking with some buddies, like we were at a local comic store. We just, shot the shit. We talked about whatever we felt like talking. And yeah, we just had a lot of fun doing it. Like, we made some amazing friends along the way. We had some awesome guests. I think back to the first season and seeing, the Jim Zubs of the world, the Mark Orlandos, and seeing where they are now. It's just like, it's like, oh, we helped them. Oh, look at that.
Oh, right. It was freaking crazy. Like, it's crazy seeing what Orlando's up to now. I mean, being like, I just want to talk to you again.
Yeah, exactly. So, just to put it out there, we essentially have to start from scratch. We eventually, over time, recently completely lost the It's Canon email, so a lot of our contacts have been lost. I do have most of them saved, but I'm not going to start emailing these random creators at random times just for shits and giggles. So now we have a platform again, so we can talk about their projects, and it was always awesome talking to creators. Like, we would just get lost in time sometimes, and I really had to heavily edit the episodes. Because sometimes we were literally talking for 2-3 hours at a time with some of these creators. And it was.
I still talk to S.J. McKinn.
I do as well. And I can't wait to have him on the show. She's actually one of the people who have been asking, where we are, and he wants to do something. So we'll be bringing people back on the show. We have new friends, because we're focusing on more than just comics. We're going to be bringing a barrage of people. But, the one thing that I've always, said about this show was that the It's Canon podcast is about you, the listeners, and we really want to take, all of your ideas, and, it's a show for you. Like, as much as it is a show for Tyler and myself, it's a show for you. What do you guys want to listen to? So, we make ourselves as interactive as humanly possible. In a little bit, we're going to talk about how we are going to expand this. If you have a podcast, if you have anything, if you have a project that you're working on, an event, anywhere in the world, it really doesn't matter if we're promoting an event in Timbuktu. I don't care. I want people to know that, hey, something is happening in Timbuktu, and you should check it out if you're around Timbuktu. It's a show for our listeners as much as it is a show for us, and I really do love that aspect of it. A lot of times, being on hiatus, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I don't want to, start stepping on toes, but sometimes there's a holier-than-thou mentality and attitude that's just like, why am I still listening to you? So that's exactly what I want to avoid. And now that I've lost about 3 creators from our listeners list, what have you been up to? It's been a while. We still stay in touch. I kind of know more or less what you're doing. Tyler, what's going on in the life of Tyler, of T-Dot?
In this exact moment, my dog is insisting he gets a producer credit.
Of course.
As you can hear the background of my dog is he insists whenever I record he gets to be in the room with me, and now he's decided that he gets to be on the show too. It has been a bizarro roller coaster for me. Since literally today, my second board game ever I was designer for was sent off to the printer today.
Ooh.
For them to inevitably look at the files and be like, this doesn't work. And then I fix it. A pile of RPGs out. Some phenomenal experience being nominated for some awards, which was crazy. Yep. Can't believe that happened.
Right.
And I also run a comic book store now.
Go figure, right? Go figure. And just so that our listeners know, and this is the only time I'll allow you to plug the store, really. Let our listeners know where they are, where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am the manager at the Dragon Milton. That's in Milton, Ontario. It's the third location of the Eisner Award-winning Dragon. Again,
Yes.
it's crazy. It's one of the few stores ever to win an Eisner for it. The owner, Jennifer Haynes, is crazy accomplished. It is super intimidating to work for her because she is hyper competent and does a lot. And it's the kind of person that you're like, oh, I aspire to be like this person. She's involved with the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. She's on the board of Comics Pro. She owns a startup that does she's co-owner of like a startup that does software for comic book stores. So it's crazy. It's crazy to be part of this, and I'm learning from awesome people. And it's more than a little bit terrifying that my staff, because I'm going to give a shout out for this person as well, because I've been singing her praises all week. I took over from a new old manager, so there was staff there, so I had to come into that. And Sam, who's there at the store and is 16 and is incredibly more competent than I ever was as a teenager, is terrifying because I think she's smarter than I am. And yeah, it's been phenomenal, so it's definitely worth checking out. And it was actually funny because you swore earlier, and the Dragon has a strict no swearing policy at work, which I understand. Like, we have kids coming in, I'm super on board with it, but it's just this moment of like, oh, right, I can swear again. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's funny. I actually tried very hard not to, but it is what it is, so here we are. We do have the explicit tag on our feed, so no one can complain too much.
Yeah. Oh,
no,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Place.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. That's really awesome. So like I mentioned, now we're going to address the quote unquote elephant in the room. Going back to what I was saying earlier where, I wanted to bring this show back, because it was a huge distraction for me. It really put me in a very good place. As busy as I was, anytime that I was able to join you and, Kyle, I almost did it again. I almost called Kyle Tyler.
Our secret, hidden, sometimes third host.
Yes. Who I'm pretty sure is lost somewhere in the Matrix. I forgot where I was going with this.
He read all the Marvel comics.
Yes, yes. I will never forget that episode. Yeah, I read everything going down the list. Nope, I didn't read that. Nope, I didn't read that. Nope, I didn't read that.
So for new listeners, this is old in the archive. I think it's still up. Back in the archive, and it's my favorite episode because Kyle opens up saying how he's read every Marvel comic that came out that week, and then we went through the list. He read like one,
if at all, and I don't even think he finished it.
Oh yeah, it was like, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, exactly. It was the best. So going back to what I was saying, I always had fun producing this show. It was a lot of work because not only was I, I guess the quote unquote, when I was one of the hosts, but I also produced it on the side. I had like 3 or 4 computers going on, making sure sound levels were good. And there was just something about that experience that I absolutely loved. It feels really weird right now just talking into a USB microphone that's plugged straight to my computer. And I know that when I listen to this episode back, I'm going to cringe at the sound quality, but, it's fine. But, addressing the elephant in the room, one of the reasons why I kind of had to take a step back was, our website, Comics I Read, was starting to get a lot of visitors. And for anyone who knows how websites work, when you start getting a lot of visitors, you have to beef up the infrastructure, the back end. And doing that costs quite a bit of money, especially the setup that we had. I made sure, one of the things that I made sure was, that it's a fast responding website. I put a lot of effort into that. So, costs got enormously high. Not only for the actual website, but the podcast itself. It just became insanely high. And
for those who don't know, hosting a podcast can be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Like the infrastructure required behind that. And it was at a time in my life when I was living it was at a time in my life where the fact that we were getting free comics was a godsend because otherwise I didn't get to read stuff a lot of time. And people remember I was living that creative life, and it was at a point where Boris, I think, knew if he came to me, it was going to be being like, I can give you $10
Yeah, and then and I always took pride in myself in saying you know what, I never had the money to pay the other hosts, so at the very least, what I can do is give them the platform to talk. And I hate that makes me sound like one of those douchebags. It's like, do this for free, you'll get the exposure. That wasn't my intent whatsoever. But
that wasn't the feeling at all. It was very much more of we're all partners in this, and we knew that if we figured out a way for this to make money, that would be phenomenal.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny because since then, there have been platforms created and perfected where we can, raise a little cash to keep the lights on, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So, Tyler, do you want to sort of talk about our Patreon and what our fans can expect?
Yeah, so as of the time of us talking, our Patreon has been submitted. I don't know if it's been approved or not yet. But yeah, our Patreon has been submitted, so you can put a few bucks in, price of a coffee during the week if you need. Or need if you would like to keep us talking. The initial goals on our end, where the money is going to be going at the very beginning, is getting the sound quality fixed up. And then keeping the proverbial lights on in terms of the podcast, making sure that, we can actually host it and we're not burning holes through Boris's wallet again, trying to be like, hey, let's get more bandwidth in a thing that we can't monetize. That's always been the problem. Is we only ever wanted to do it in a way that we felt was, how do I say it? We felt was respectful to people. We didn't want to do so-called, we didn't want to do native advertising. We didn't want to do anything that was what's the word I'm looking for, Boris? I think that was, we wouldn't just feel good about. We didn't want to be shilling something that we were getting money to specifically shill versus, us being hey, we'd really do this comic. It's so easy to get that. It's so easy to get that gray area between if you see it in video gaming a lot at let's say, I don't know, a certain website that puts up their review, and the same day every single advertising slot in that site has been bought by that game, and you're even if you mean that to be perfectly benign, and there is a firewall between finance and advertising and then your content creators, it doesn't look great.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
No, it's a little shady sometimes. I also don't want to be pimping out something like Blue Chew, which is, essentially men's natural, pills for growth, etc. I don't want to put myself and promote these things that I just don't believe in, and that I would never.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh, no, we're good.
Oh.
We had an opportunity to promote and get on board with, what's that, the audiobook company that every podcast, Audible. And even that, it was just as cool as that is, it's really the amount of link clicks that's going to have to go on is just so astronomical. It's just, I don't want to put our listeners through that. So, I looked hard, and I did a lot of research, and I talked to a lot of other creators, and really Patreon is the best type of platform for this. And again, we're not here looking to shill money to make a profit. We're simply trying to keep the lights on, and we're trying to think of ways that we can actually make it worthwhile if you do want to give some cash. So I guess, before you start talking about what the levels are, I kind of do want to say that, the It's Canon podcast, if you think about the name, It's Canon podcast. No, we don't talk about, canning cameras, even though in one episode we might, but,
oh, boo, dad jokes.
Yeah, I know, right? We're back. it's one of those things where I want this to eventually be a network of podcasts, where, this one would be, where we talk about anything and everything. And then if, folks want to start a wrestling podcast, they can go start that. If they want to start a conspiracy show podcast, they can start that. If they want to have simply a movie review podcast, we can do that. If we want to do our, the episodes that always did really well were the retro review type episodes that we did, where we took a book and kind of dissected it frame by frame, and those always did really well. Yeah. So we're going to be doing a lot of that again, but I think, in the interest of keeping the lights on, a lot of our additional content is going to be, Patreon type content, but again, I want to hear what everyone thinks. Like, I don't want to burden people. I don't want people to feel weird or anything like that. So enough of us, trying to make ourselves feel better for asking for money. Do you want to go through the levels that we have as of today?
Yeah, as of today, we're sitting at 3 levels. I'm going to go through the 3, and I'm going to talk about the 4th level that is currently under development. So the first one is Pop Culture Fan. It's $1 or more per month. You get access to our backlog of bloopers once they're made available, and Boris and I have to try to track those down, and/or once we have the sound thing up, you'll get the access to bloopers. And do you have access to the old stuff still?
Yep.
Because I remember there was one episode where I think we had to cut like 30 minutes off the front.
Yep.
Of just us, just silly times.
Yeah, there were episodes where we literally laughed for 10, 15 minutes, and we had to cut it all.
We lost and that's not just the bloopers, but it's also stuff of, like, one of us will flub hilariously badly. We'll call someone by the wrong name. Just a ton of stuff like that. So you have access to that. You have access to Patreon-only polls. So we're going to start putting up polls about, like, hey, what do you want us to cover next? This or this? Or we'll put 3 or 4 options up. And then, if we end up doing a once a month retro review kind of thing, that's what it's going to be to decide. So it's a great way to get your voice heard. It's a great way to tell us what you want to see. Once the equipment is back up and ready to go, it's going to be the only way to get access to live streams. And then it's going to be for extra conversations and stuff behind the scenes. I know that once people are there, Boris and I are going to be hanging out on Patreon, and we'll probably set up a Discord or something. That's what the cool kids are doing nowadays, to talk to people like that. Yep. And I basically live on Discord now.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. Next level up is the Pop Culture Fanatic, which is $15 or more per month. You get everything on the earlier levels, and then basically for each month you're on that, we'll send you a box of nerdy stuff mailed to you. A good chunk of this, especially at the beginning, is going to be rated from my own collection, so it's going to be stuff that I have built up over the years, and they're going to be partly curtailed and honed to you. Bespoke is the word I was looking for. Partly bespoke at the beginning, and then as we go, that's definitely an area we're going to try to build on and get some cool other stuff from. The last level right now is executive producer. It's $25 per month or more, and you get to coordinate with the team to determine the entire back end of an episode. So you're going to be in the conversations that we have beforehand. You're going to see that how much of it's on Facebook chat of us being like, we got to do an episode. Yeah, we do. What are we going to talk about? And then you're going to find out how much of it is us actually deciding what not to talk about. We're going to make recommendations, and you're going to highlight stories that you want to make sure we hit. So we'll have a hey, heads up, this is from the executive producer, and we'll mention something like that, and we're going to stay honest on it because we've already got their money. We don't have to worry about getting it again. Plus all previous awards. So the question there is that jump between $1 and $15. So we are going to be putting another level in there that we're just still honing what is going to be in that level.
Yeah, and one of the ideas that I actually had was kind of having a monthly trivia. So if you're at this level, you can take part in the monthly trivia, and essentially you'll get if you win the trivia, you'll get a prize at the end of the contest.
Yeah, that's I remember us having that conversation, and I was trying to remember what we had said about that, and That's why I lost.
Exactly, and it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so let us know what you think. Can you let our listeners know how they can reach us? Or I know that it's not public yet, but it should be public soon enough.
I literally hit launch right now.
Oh, beauty. So
I just got the notification during recording that it was like, oh yeah, by the way, we approved you. And I'm like, oh, hey, cool. Click.
beauty.
So it is patreon.com/itscanon. itscanon.
Beauty. So there we go. I think we've kind of taken a bit of time to talk about some admin stuff. I think it's time to get on with the show, and we can start talking a little bit about some of the news. And I think there's so much to talk about. It's absolutely insane how much is going on. Just for those of you who don't know, the second half of the episode, we will be talking about Captain Marvel and all things Captain Marvel and sort of our thoughts on Captain Marvel. We'll talk about the backlash, whether it was warranted or not. We'll talk about the run.
Is it backlash? It predates it?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? You bring up a good point. Is it backlash or is it just stupidity or blindness?
Oh no, we're not stacking this deck at all.
Well, let's be honest here. Like, we know what some of the issues were, and I know that some of the people listening to us are probably angry right now, sending very angry emails. But yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, a lot of the issues just were not warranted. It was very similar to this time last year with Black Panther and all of the hoopla surrounding that movie. So we're going to get into all things Captain Marvel. We're going to talk about, our thoughts on the movie, where the MCU is going to go. And then, we'll talk about something cool that I have planned that I haven't even told Tyler yet. But yeah, we'll talk about a little bit of news before we go there. One of the major items, I guess, this has been discussed countless times, but I kind of want to talk to Tyler about this, and that's sort of the, one of the things that we always love talking about in previous seasons were the Netflix Marvel shows. They were so well done. They were perfectly dark. They were just perfectly done for the most part. It was exactly what I expected as it pertained to a gritty, darker type show. It was Arrow, but non-CW stuff of Arrow. But yeah, so, what are your thoughts on sort of what's going on there, or, the lack of what's going on, the fact that, well, everything's been essentially canceled. We even have news
not even
here.
Essentially, it is.
Yeah, not even.
Best guns.
Yeah, the Daredevil Season 3 showrunner Eric Olson has signed a developmental deal with Amazon, and so in the wake of the Netflix shows being canceled, people are looking for new jobs. So anyone who thought that the cancellation was just a signaling that these shows are going to end up on Disney Plus, you're wrong, because Disney has said countless times that their Disney Plus streaming service, which is only going to be available in the United States, is going to be family friendly. So a lot of these shows would not have fit that bill. So I'm a little shocked overall that, to a certain extent, that Netflix just went ahead and canceled these shows. I really don't think that the shows were not streaming well. I just think that this was a case of, why promote our biggest competitor?
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it. I think it was why keep supporting, like you said, our biggest competitor. We were part of what made it. I think Disney's really counting on just the strength of all that IP they have. And they're just counting on, look, we're going to have frickin' Star Wars. We're going to have this. We have Hulu in the bank. So if they want to do not all ages stuff, they can put it on Hulu, which is what they've kind of implied they're going to be doing. And yeah, I think they're just counting on it being successful. But I think if you look at their launch line, I don't know what the frickin' plan is. Because their launch line is The Offenders.
Yeah. Yep.
So you got MODOK. What is The Offenders? MODOK, Howard the Duck.
You know how I feel about MODOK.
Yeah.
There's
You can't find it. If you search Offenders Disney, it is not about their show.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, there was I think one announcement at some point, and I haven't been able to find anything since, to be honest.
I mean, they've put. There it is. The only news was February 11th, 2019. That's the article you can find everywhere. They're going to have Howard the Duck, MODOK, Hitmonkey, and Tigra/Dazzler. I mean, these shows have good teams on them. MODOK, I believe, has Patton Oswalt and another phenomenal writer on it. Tigra and Dazzler has... Oh, what is her name? 2 female comedians. I'm brain on their name, but they're phenomenal. Jeff Loeb is... Oh, right, it is. Erica Rivenoha and Chelsea Handler are doing Tigra and Dazzler with Jeff Loeb. Hitmonkey's Josh Gordon and Will Speck, and then Howard the Duck. One of Howard the Duck and MODOK has Patton Oswalt.
Yep.
And it's all been Hulu. This isn't even their other one.
Exactly. To me, it just doesn't make sense. A lot of this, but remember, with the majority stake of Hulu now in Disney's possession, I think a lot of these shows, I don't see them completely being revived, but I think that there's a possibility that we can see the same style, tone of show on Hulu as opposed to Netflix,
it's hard.
But having said that, I don't know what the rights look like. Like, are they free to just take it, or did they, pull a Fox?
For the Netflix show?
Yeah.
Oh, the Netflix, I guarantee, owns part of that. Because they produced it. So they 100% get a right. They get a chunk of it.
Yeah, and how long do they have exclusive rights for? So has Disney not learned from the fiasco with Fox and Sony and Universal and sort of tied themselves into not being able to produce their own shows for a streaming service that they have the majority stake in?
I'd actually point out, even if they could produce, I think it's a losing. Let's say they wanted to do a brand new Daredevil. If they said we want to do Daredevil season 4, it's their situation to lose. Because if it is not as good, it's Disney's fault for leaving Netflix. And if it is as good, which Daredevil's already having problems with, or was already having problems with.
Yeah, the quality has gone down a bit. But so are you implying that Disney forced Netflix to cancel the shows, to end the shows, or was this...
Oh, I 100% that's what happened. Netflix has said as much.
I don't know. To me, it just does that. I don't know. That's, I don't know. I don't know. I don't personally think so. I think this was more Netflix decision, just having, quote unquote beef with Disney, and the fact that they don't want to help promote, a rival streaming service. Because everyone has a streaming service now. We should start a streaming service. Actually, we kind of do.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that a little later. Not our streaming service. That was a joke, but I meant just the number of streaming services. But yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Where Hulu and Disney are going to go with things. Like Netflix, it's over. It's done. It's over rock.
We get Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I guess.
There's one more season that comes out.
I guess.
It does. There's one more season that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get garbage. And then we get supposedly Loki with Hiddleston, Scarlet Witch with Olsen, and what was the third one? Shoot, they had a third show they'd announced. It's gone.
It's all good. It's all good. Just goes to show you how prepared we are today.
Yeah.
Speaking of cancellations, I guess for those listeners who remember, we were watching the Arrowverse back when it originally started, and then it just stopped because it became too CW for me. But Arrow has been canceled, so they are going to come back for a new season in the fall, but it's going to be a very short season. And that is it. I think it's only 8 episodes or so. And to that extent, CW has also announced that next year's big crossover event is entitled The Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, I think I know what's going to happen. But,
I am surprised at what is going to happen.
right? Yeah, let's bring in Crisis of Infinite Earths, and at the same time that Arrow is going to be canceled. Surprise, 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 surprise. So that's that. Does anyone still watch The Walking Dead?
No, there's actually no one watching it.
Like literally.
No, there's not a single human. It's an ongoing troll.
So it's I feel like the show has become a spoof of itself to a certain extent. And it's like if you're still watching, the joke's on you. But so I just wanted to see if you're still watching that. It doesn't sound like it. Talking about streaming services in the United States, not in Canada, because, we have the CRTC to thank. DC has launched their own streaming service with a bunch of shows, including Titans and Doom Patrol. For those in Canada, Titans Season 1 was launched in Netflix, and I watched it very quickly, and I absolutely loved it. I really, really, really liked it a lot.
Oh.
Did you watch it?
I couldn't finish the first episode. It was not for me.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. It's funny because even as I'm watching this, it's like, yeah, Tyler's not going to like this show.
Yep, that sounds right. Everyone else is like, oh, it's so good because of this, this, and this. And I'm like, I like none of those things. Okay.
Exactly, because you don't like superheroes.
I wouldn't go that far.
You kind of don't.
Hotshots is the best.
No, for our new listeners, or to remind people, it's the superhero trope that you've kind of become bored with, correct? It's
100%.
It's not superheroes per se, but it's essentially the same thing rehashed over and over.
It's like the Lego Batman movie. It's the same. Nothing matters. He's apparently 80 and not 80 at the same time.
Yeah.
Who knows what continuity is? Nothing matters. Nothing matters.
But that we're gonna talk about this in another episode about continuity and where the comic industry is heading, because there have been so many articles and journals written about what these comic book companies should be doing, and I think we're going to touch on this later on this month when the sales figures comes out, because we used to always have fun dissecting where the business is going, but yeah. So going back to the streaming services, Doom Patrol was also launched. So here in Canada, Titans was launched on Netflix. Doom Patrol, the Space Channel is actually going to be airing this Doom Patrol starting in April. So there you go. Talking about sticking with TV shows, we have Gotham, which is also ending, and it's another show that no one really watched. I think I watched the first couple seasons, and I tried to keep up to date, but it was really difficult to. It just wasn't my cup of tea for the most part. But it looks like, we're finally going to get Joker and the Batsuit at the end of this last and final season. So if you're watching that show, have fun, enjoy it, take pictures, tell us about it. Go have it. Go have at it. Oh, this is a great one. Oh, well, I'll talk about that after. There's just so much going on right now in comics and everything. Hellboy. We have the Hellboy movie that's coming out later this year. What are your thoughts on what you've seen from the relaunched Hellboy? I know that you've always been a huge fan of this series, and I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the reboot.
So I love the actor playing Hellboy. And it looks like they're doing good storylines. It looks like they've hinted from the trailers they're doing like 6 storylines, which is a lot of plot to shove into a movie, and it might just be they can still handle it. It's been done. And a lot of the time, it's like, oh, by the way, we did this, that, and the other. They're also not doing an origin story, which is great. Of just like, we don't need an origin story.
Yeah. I think we're at that point now with these comic book movies where we really don't need origin stories. I think that's something that Marvel has slightly learned that DC tried to do, but they really, DC is DC. When it comes to their live action movies, because their animated movies are so damn good, it's just, I just don't understand how one side is so good and the other side is just so bad. But yeah, origin stories, we don't need origin stories anymore. I think we're at a point now with comic books and all of these comic book movies and stories and live adaptations to the big screen that we don't need to know every detail of how this person was created. I think that we can get enough of the story and we'll be good. And it just, at the end of the day, it just comes down to, is this story good enough for the 2 hours that it's going to be on screen? When you start adding a origin story, that takes a bit out of the actual movie itself. That's 45 minutes to an hour. That's a substantial amount of screen time that you're adding to an origin story. Yeah.
Yep, I'm potentially excited.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks all right. Like, I haven't been a fan of the trailer so far, but I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. So I'll probably watch it, but we'll see. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Were you able to catch this movie?
So good.
Right? It was so well done. It was so well done. It really did feel like a comic book on the big screen, and that's what I absolutely loved about it. The character designs were great, the voice acting was great, the animation was great. I really liked everything about it.
It accepted what it was. It didn't try to pretend it was something it wasn't.
Well, that's exactly it. It knew that it was an animated movie, so it kind of played within those boundaries,
I also love Spider B. Parker. Spider B. Parker. Freaking
yes.
B. Parker. Just like, no, my life's screwed up. Deal with it.
Exactly. That was a fantastic movie. I know that, again, a lot of people who probably said angry things on the internet about Captain Marvel said angry things about Into the Spider-Verse. Stranger Things Season 3 launching this July. Can I be 100% honest with you?
If you must.
I have not watched Stranger Things. I cannot get past the second episode.
Alright.
It's funny, my little... when I tell people this, they are like, shocked and almost offended.
No, like the pacing in Stranger Things is a slower pacing. And if you don't want a slower pacing, that's not for you.
Yeah. Fact. Yeah. Let's see. Let's keep looking. Umbrella Academy Season 2 is already filming here in my backyard in Toronto. Literally. What did you think? Well, actually, I will touch on that a little later in our next segment. So that's that. Aquaman. Did you watch Aquaman?
Yep.
And your thoughts there?
I've never found a movie that hated me, the viewer, so much.
Sorry, what?
I've never seen a movie that hated the viewer as much as that movie. The entire time I was like, this movie wants to kill me. I think this movie wants me to stroke out while watching it.
Jesus Christ. Was it too... I haven't seen it, to be 100% honest.
It's so all over the... they're dealing with Aquaman's... They're doing Aquaman's origin story and backstory. Which already is like, alright, it's a rough road to hoe, but okay. And they're like, we're going to at once both say it's the best and the most serious, but also we're going to say it's stupid. And we're going to vacillate back and forth drastically with no beat changes to prepare you. Literally, there are lines like, why don't I just use a sword instead of a trident? Because it's tradition. All right.
Right.
What? Like, what? No, I agree a sword is better, but you're using a trident. Why? Because the plot says you use a trident. All right.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
But no, I want Black Manta in this. Okay, we're gonna have a minute of him trying to make the helmet. Is that gonna like pay off? Is he the big bad? No, we're gonna kill him at the halfway point.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
I know.
Look, freaking Jason Momoa doesn't want to be there. He's like a frat bro trying to play. That movie hurt me so bad.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Now I really want to watch it just so that
Willem Dafoe is in it.
Willem
Dafoe.
Didn't we go on a huge spiel about him once?
Patrick Wilson
Amazing.
is the bad guy.
Right.
And his plot is basically, I'm the bad guy. Dolph Lundgren is in it, and he's given a dramatic role to play.
Oh, that tells me enough. Having said that, Creed 2 was fantastic.
Yeah. But don't give Dolph Lundgren CGI red hair.
Oh, dear God.
And make him worried about his daughter intermittently when he remembers she exists.
Now I really need to watch this movie just so that I can we can have a go at it. Just might as well stick with the DCEU. And for our listeners, typically we don't usually just jump back and forth like this. We're just trying to catch up on a bunch of things that we've sort of missed out over the past however many months. So we're just running down a lot of things. Typically what we try to do is stick to the news of the week. But yeah, there was just so much that we've missed, and we kind of want to get caught up. James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Do you think this should even exist?
No.
I
No.
agree. I'm at this point, I really want that DC universe to just implode and just say that this was Earth, like, Earth 69 or something. Like, let's just get rid of this and start from scratch and actually plan things out. Because I will always say the biggest issue with the DCEU was that the origin and the jumping on point for the entire universe was based on a movie that created a lot of controversy to begin with. So they were never going to be in a good place.
Wait, and frickin', like, the one that looks good is coming out in 2021. And it's, what is it? It's Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harleen Quinzel. And it's like, that looks fantastic. I want to watch that movie.
But you're not interested in Shazam?
Look, it could pull it off. And no one will be happier than me if they pull it off.
There you go.
I just don't think they're going to pull it off.
I love it. I don't think so either. I think that there's going to be a lot of issues with that movie, but it is what it is. And for those of you who know me, I say that quite a bit. Let's get to something positive. I think we need to make a visit to California in late 2019 so that we can go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the new themed area of California's Disneyland and Florida's Disney World.
Yeah. That exists.
Yeah, it's going to be a thing. 14 acres.
Have you been to the old Star Wars one, Disney World?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that was a good time.
It was a lot of fun. I absolutely...
Apparently BB-88 is on that Star Wars ride.
Ooh.
Which is like, that's all I needed. Now I'm good to go.
Exactly.
I want to get yelled at by R2 and another robot I've never met before.
Exactly. Going down. Game of Thrones, the final season is later this year, or I guess next month it begins.
Yep.
That's going to be good. HBO's Watchmen series.
Sure, this might as well happen.
Oh my god. I love it. It's funny because you're not negative at all, but there's just so much bad going on in the industry right now.
Well, it's the weird thing, right? Of like, I would love for these things to be successful. Like, you've seen me, audience. You know, when stuff is successful and it's good, I am the first person to get on the rooftop and yell its praises. But I genuinely don't know what the value add is to making a Watchmen TV show.
Yeah, it's
like,
funny. Yeah.
Like, I ordered... You want to know what I do if I want Watchmen alive? I get the Watchmen comic. Or maybe, if I'm feeling really lazy and a little bit like I want a vaguely pornographic scene in the middle, I can watch the movie. I don't need more. I want to get the next thing. I can still get Watchmen the comic. You know how I know? I ordered a bunch of copies for the store.
I love it. Netflix's The Witcher.
I mean, Cavill's a weird casting choice, but all right. You know
that I'm finding things on purpose to ask you about, knowing what the answer is going to be.
I mean, I saw the screen test because they released the screen test, and I was like, all right, he looks better than I expected him to. And they're doing young Geralt, which I think is going to help, right? Because if they did old Witcher 3 era Geralt and had Henry Cavill, I think it would be a lot worse, right? Like, it's Henry Cavill fighting against a lot at that point. Yeah. He's square jaw, but he's got a little bit of baby face. Yep. If you want Geralt to be, what is it, the end, like 130 or some insanity of him just being like, I'm an old grumpy man. It's not the same, but
yeah.
And young Geralt is a little bit less sassy than old Geralt.
Yep.
So
something that I am actually really looking forward to is that Netflix, or not Netflix, YouTube Premium show Cobra Kai Season 2 coming back April 24th. I'm really looking forward to that.
Did you watch Season 1?
Yep.
Was it? So that trailer made me go, nope.
It's good. It's good, but I don't think it's for you. I really don't think that you would like it, to be honest.
That's 100%. Part of my problem with it was like that trailer was like, millennials are the worst. Did it get over that, or did it stay there?
Oh, it got over it, ish. It got over it. Honestly, it did. It did.
Stand up for yourself. Wasn't the original one about how racism and being mean to the small kid is bad? Fight.
Yes, exactly. Because everything needs a TV show, Amazon's Lord of the Rings series setting is going to take place in the Second Age. Amazon released a map of Middle-earth that kind of confirms this.
A wrong map of Middle-earth.
Yes.
Numenor's in the wrong place.
Yep. So, again, do you think that this is something that should exist, or is it just like it is what it is?
I mean, it's better than the young adventures of Aragorn they threatened us with.
Oh yeah. That would have been really bad.
Yeah.
Alright, we've gone through a lot of things here. I'm just seeing like the same stuff over and over and over at this point. Video games. What are you playing video game-wise? Do you still have time to play any video games?
Sometimes. I have been playing catch-up lately.
I haven't heard of that game before.
Yeah. I have actually been playing the Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, cool.
Right? Like years late.
Oh, dude, you don't even understand how far behind I am in video games right now. The game that is quote unquote new for me, and I've never played a game so new, is I'm just about halfway through the Spider-Man PS4 game right now.
Oh man, that's on my list. I have a regular who comes in and he just tells me about the Spider-Man game. He's beat it 3 times, and he's like, and then I did this, and I did this, and I'm like, everyone else, shut up! I want to listen to this kid.
Yeah, my little nephew has beaten it twice already. Once in the hardest setting, and once he got the full 100% completion. It's like, whoa, kid. I wish I still had that amount of time.
Right? Like, everyone says it's just phenomenal, so...
Yeah, exactly. The other game I actually really want to play is Mortal Kombat 11. You know, I've never been the biggest Mortal Kombat fan, but this game for some reason is really is keeping me interested.
Oh, the one I'm waiting for is freaking Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch the 40-minute trailer for that?
No, I have not. Not yet.
Right, it's worth the 45 minutes of your time. It's
Wow.
like it's a 45-minute. Like, here's the first mission, here's the tutorial, and here's the first mission. And then part through the first mission, they're like, all right, we're gonna give ourselves a bunch of stuff from the end game, so you can see what end game stuff looks like. And all of a sudden, it's just like the person's wigging out, like jumping off the walls, going into slow mo, and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, oh wow, like there's a game here.
Right.
So who knows where it is at in development? We keep not hearing.
Right. The other game I really want to play is the HD version, or the relaunch, or whatever you want to call it, of Resident Evil 2. Those look good.
Yeah, I'm always... What is it? It's like the most remade game in history.
Yeah. Just about. So that's that in terms of video games. Again, you know, we're trying to touch on all the subjects that we typically touch, during the news section. So I do apologize on the back and forth and hard to follow ism of this episode, but I just kind of we're trying to catch up ourselves. There's just so much right now going on, and you know, as we release more episodes, and we'll have a better week-to-week discussion, but I think we're good right now. So I think we're just about ready for a break, but before we go for a break, we should tell people how to contact us via our social medias.
I don't even know what we have still going.
Everything.
We do?
All of it. Yeah.
Well, it's on the Twitter at itscanonpodcast. Facebook is facebook.com/itscanonpodcast. You can also send us an email at itscanonpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and then you can also find our personal accounts on Twitter and Instagram. I am at BR_AGUILAR.
I am at Tyler_ROY.
And so before we do go on break, there is a little something that I wanted to bring up. Because I mentioned if you're having events or anything, just let us know and we'll talk about it. But this event is from a very good buddy of mine. It's really cool what he's doing, and it's in support of Holland Bloor View Hospital here in Toronto. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a kids rehab hospital foundation who do some incredible work for children. Advanced technology for children, whether it be prosthetics or whatever. It's everything. So my good friend Danny Granger, he does these absolutely amazing Sharpie arts. You may have seen this on the internet, and it's all Sharpie created, and it's typically he started off as doing this with wrestlers and wrestling. That's actually how I know him through those circles. But he's expanded a lot, and he just does just anything and everything. And in memory of someone near and dear to him, of the franchise Johnny Gale, who unfortunately passed away in Toronto in January. He's having his Art in Wrestling 2 art exhibit. It's going to take place at the Superkick Studio, 66 Fraser Avenue, Toronto. That is actually in Liberty Village. Check it out. It's all in support of Holland Bloor View Foundation, and it's on Thursday, May 23rd at 8 p.m. And it's fantastic, just fantastic pieces of art. If you want to see his art, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, you can find him at Danny Granger Art. So that's at DannyGrangerArt, Danny Granger Art, and it's really cool. You can find a lot of his work, and I've actually purchased a piece of art from him last night. So there we go.
Woo!
All right, when we come back, we are actually going to start talking about our hits of the week, which is a new type of segment since we are expanding from just comic books and whatnot. And then we are going to be talking about all things Captain Marvel. So we'll be back.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine is here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that can go to space. Yeah, but I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel that happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you.
Hey everyone, I am still surviving somehow, and it is 100% the adrenaline and meds that are helping me right now. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. It feels good being back, talking all things geek with my good friend Tyler.
I am good.
And we're to kick off episode. I know that it seems like we're going back and forth a lot, and it's just we're trying to. I think I've said this 1,000 times, and this is the worst thing that I can do is constant repeating myself. But I do want to say that we're just trying to catch up. We want to get back to a point, back on the saddle, and starting next week, the first half of the show is essentially going to be news of the week, and then we'll take a break. Then we'll talk about our hits of the week and our our topic du jour. That's French for topic of the day.
Yep.
So, we're going to talk about our hits of the week. So, what are our hits of the week? It's essentially a recommendation that you have for our listeners. It can be a video game, it could be a TV show, it could be a book, it could be absolutely anything you want it to be, something that you want our listeners to check out, something that you think is really cool. So I will go first, and the past week or so, I began and finished watching Umbrella Academy on Netflix, and I thought it was a really well done show. I actually really liked the comics. They were an interesting comic, and I thought it would be a very interesting show to put on Netflix and have episodes made from it, and just the story itself. But the adaptation was done really well, and I really enjoyed it. Really liked the characters and the casting calls that they made, and I'm really glad that it has been renewed for a season 2.
Woo, Dallas.
Have you watched Umbrella Academy yet?
Oh yeah, for sure, eh?
And your thoughts?
Oh, it was super good. It was super good, and I actually the other night my parents were like, "Hey, we think we're gonna download and watch Aquaman tonight," and I'm like, "You don't want to do that. You want to watch Umbrella Academy instead." And I got a text the other night of, "Yes, we do want to watch Umbrella Academy instead. Do you sell comics? How can I get the comics?"
Amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, actually, these are comics that were lost in my flood, so I need to rebuy these at some point. And it's like watching the show, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is a series that I would buy the comics again.
Hey, Boris.
Yeah.
You want first printings of Hotel Oblivion?
Ooh.
I have one of each except for issue 3.
Goddamn, pal. we'll have to talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's been a weird thing of now being in a position where I'm like, yeah, I got a pile of comics I can sell.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, and it's funny because it's like there are certain comics that I want to rebuy that were near and dear to me. There's other comics that I know I'm never going to be able to find. Some of the issue 1s of New 52, I'm sure I'll be able to find those, but some of the die-cast Joker covers,
Yeah.
they were super expensive to begin with, so I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, so there are some comics that I will probably rebuy, and we'll take it from there. But That is my hit of the week. It is Umbrella Academy on Netflix. I'm pretty sure you have watched it, but if you have not watched it, watch it again. One thing that I absolutely loved about that show was that because it was filmed pretty much in my backyard, seeing certain, and I know that this is just like the dumbest thing, but when you see something that you recognize on screen, it's like, ooh, I know where that is, and it's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it added to the excitement. I kind of like fangirled out for certain scenes. But, yeah, that's my hit of the week.
No.
Tyler, what's yours?
I mean, I'm kind of surprised that you called me out for not liking superheroes this episode, because I'm like, oh yeah, here it comes, because my pick of the week is Hotshots.
Hilarious.
Which is a superhero comic.
Yep.
Yeah, it's by Gail Simone and an awesome team. It is a team up of a pile of super heroines, although I should actually correct myself because the title isn't Hotshots, it's Domino: Hotshots. Yeah, by Gail Simone. It is following Domino, and I'm trying to pull up the exact list of the rest of the people, and Facebook is gonna, and my Facebook being the internet is gonna fight me. But yeah, we've got, there it is, Domino, Black Widow, White Fox, Atlas Bear, Outlaw, and Diamondback. And yeah, it's a, quote, crew of dangerous international women, the newest group of hotshots into the Marvel Universe. And it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that series. It is by one of my favorite writers, Gail Simone. Her run of Batgirl, I had every issue of it. And yeah, no, it's just, yeah. For our listeners who don't know, Batgirl is one of my favorite series. So yeah, I even like the first couple, I guess, arcs of the hipster Batgirl in New 52. But yeah, but Gail Simone's awesome.
Yep.
So that's that. All right, so our topic du jour, topic of the day, what it is that we want to talk about. It is I guess, would you consider this a controversial movie?
I mean, apparently.
Right.
I mean, based on content, I wouldn't say so.
No, not at all. But it was for sure a very, you're either hot or cold with this movie. It was either here nor there for some people, and that is Captain Marvel from the MCU, starring Brie Larson. Where do you even want to start on this? We can start with sort of the lead up to the release, the backlash that was really hitting the movie, the incredibly awkward Rotten Tomatoes algorithm that was put into question. There was just so much backlash, with this movie. I know that a lot of people, were thinking that this movie was just going to be a simple, social justice warrior movie where it was being made just to shut people up and, have, forced diversity in the MCU. And it's, pushing it down and ramming it down people's throats. What are your thoughts on all the hoopla?
Oh, what happened here?
You tell me.
Oh, there we go. That's for some weird beeps, and then you went away, and then you came back.
No, because I just coughed a little, so I went on mute.
Oh, that's what happened. Yeah, so honestly, I don't actually think I want to talk about I'll talk about the Rotten Tomatoes fiasco.
No?
I think it's been covered better elsewhere. I think there's legitimate stuff to talk about.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. We can talk about anything you want. This has been covered in so many places. I want to cover it in our own sort of way, and sort of bring our unique view into this. So yeah. It's your call.
I mean, honestly, I think there's some real stuff to talk about, but I think the Rotten Tomatoes fiasco is just
I think it's news. I don't think it's actually news about the movie, if that makes sense. Of just like.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. I think that it's kind of sad to a certain extent that we've kind of come to that level of pettiness. It's and I kind of don't want to give too much. I guess I don't want to highlight that pettiness too much either.
Yep. Straight up.
Yep. Because because at the end of the day, that's all it was. It was just pettiness. And like I said, it's just, yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the movie. I think I'll start then with what was your view on it?
In terms of?
Like, what's your review? Yes, no, good movie, bad movie?
I liked it. I overall liked it. It was a fun movie. It was funnier than I thought it was going to be. I think overall Brie Larson did a okay job of the character. There were some really awkward moments in her delivery, especially when the whole buddy... anytime that there was a buddy element involved, whether it be with Nick Fury, especially with Nick Fury, I would say, when they kind of meet and they start having the witty back and forth, there was some really awkward delivery. But overall, I think it was really well done. It had an interesting story that had a lot of twists and turns. I think that the movie's... the middle of the movie, I guess the second act, as film buffs would say, kind of took too long. It was a bit long. It was a bit, too many twists and turns. You weren't sure where they were exactly going with it, leading up to, I guess, the quote unquote plot twist, which we should talk about just because of, where the MCU might be heading now, and kind of its comic counterparts, because I don't think the comics have ever really touched on that too much. But yeah, no, I think overall it was really well done. I would recommend people to watch it. I think it sets up and kind of connects a few movies together really well, and it gives us some good I guess backstory on a new and important character for Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. I actually disagree with you about the part that I think suffered the most. I think that I agree with you. I think it was a solid movie. The way I've been describing it has been, it's not top 5 Marvel movies, but it's not bottom half either.
No, exactly. It's not Captain America, not Iron Man 3, but it's also not Civil War.
Or wow, I was going to say not Thor 2, but also not Black Panther.
Yeah, well, depends how you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think the first act is the problem.
You think the first act is a problem? Okay.
I think the first act actually could be entirely cut almost. I think you can start the movie with her crashing into Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And that's a better movie. And then you make a new second act in between the second and third act. Because I think the problem is the act that you were saying was the second act is actually the second first act.
Quite possibly. I think so.
I mean, to get all like story construction over, it was a matter of like, yeah, here we are, and we've set up the stakes, we set up the stuff, and we set up like what the movie's about, and then we take that away and we set it up again. And I get life is like that, but it doesn't mean a movie needs to be like that sometimes. So it very much feels like we could have gotten a better first act that was Brie Larson landing in Blockbuster and then being like, I'm from the Kree Empire, we're amazing, we are warrior heroes, and like that was great. I like that. I love that line of like, no, we're great warriors, warrior heroes, we're the best.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I think you could do a lot more, and you could still sell all you got in the first act in not that much time.
Interesting. I totally see that where you're coming from. I totally 100% see where you're coming from. But yeah, I just think that there was a level of awkwardness in getting to the plot twist, whether it be the first act, the second act. I just think that something could have been cut, something could have been shortened or changed to get to where we needed to get to. I think that there was a lot of, dare I say, too much building up to that point.
Yeah.
You know, I really liked, you know, Samuel L. did a fantastic job. You know, it's funny because he just seemed, what I really appreciated about that movie is that, you know, Nick Fury overall seemed like a different person. Because he, at that point, hasn't seen shit yet. He hasn't, he hasn't been shot at too much by aliens or, you know, Russian assassins or things like that. So he's a very different type of character throughout the movie than the Nick Fury that we're used to in, you know, Phase 1 and 2, and I guess, you know, the first half of 3.
Yep, makes sense.
I thought Talos, Ben Mendelsohn, did a fantastic job. His delivery sometimes just like killed me more than anything else, especially just his sarcasm. You know, his some of the way that someone would deliver a line and he would literally just shrug that line off. I thought he was really good. The only character that really bothered me was Jude Law, and that's just because I am not a Jude Law fan whatsoever. So Jan Rog was just not up to par for me. You know, I know he was meant to be douchey, he was meant to be conniving, he was meant to be two-faced, but it was just a little too much for me. And it's really funny because I kind of saw where the movie was going right from the get-go, and I was absolutely guaranteed, I knew. And, I guess, what am I trying to say? I was, you know, I knew exactly where they were going when, Gemma Chan's character, sort of said that, you know, she has been on Earth before and it's garbage. So I'm like, oh, well, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, yeah. So Jude Law was the only low light for me. And I really liked everything. You know what's actually really funny? That Lee Pace, Ronan, he looks so different. And I know that he was.
I also thought that. I was
didn't even.
By that.
I was
thought
too.
That wasn't just me.
I honestly
was like,
did not
this
think.
can't be the same actor. No,
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
The same actor.
Yeah, it was the same actor, Lee Pace. You know, I really like him as an actor. You know, he does a awesome job on a former AMC show about Halt and Catch Fire. I really liked him there. Obviously, in Guardians 1, he was fantastic. But he just looks so different in this movie that I legitimately thought it was a different actor.
Yeah.
It was really weird. It was really, really weird. Yeah, and overall, like, Brie Larson, like I said, there was some, in my opinion, there was some awkwardness in some of her delivery, but overall, she did a great job. You know, we kind of knew the type of character that she was, kind of like, you know, doesn't like being told what to do, kind of, you know, lone wolf, you know, I can think for myself type of character, and I think it was well executed. You know, I do have some questions in regards to where and what's happened in the 25 years or so that we haven't seen Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, from the time that she left with Talos, and the time that the beacon or the two-way pager was sent out.
Have you heard the official response from Marvel?
No.
The official response was, people were like, why didn't Nick Fury use the pager? To which Feige's response was, how do you know he didn't? Like, how do you know he didn't?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And there was a leak, I think it was yesterday, wherein a bunch of the Marvel shareholders at a shareholders meeting got to see a good chunk of Endgame. Mm-hmm. And one of them said that part of it is Carol Danvers basically being like, characters ask her, "What the fuck were you?"
Right.
And her response was like, "Not every planet has the Avengers."
Yeah. Interesting.
Basically, I was busy.
Yeah. Go fuck yourselves. I was busy.
Yeah, like I was busy. I was dealing with other problems. Mm-hmm. Look, it was fine here until this happened, which kind of implies that, like, after Battle for New York, Captain Marvel showed up and was like, "Oh, you got this? Cool. All right, I'm gone again."
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Like, we don't know. But it's not bothering me or anything, because it's funny because, this is something that bothers me a lot of times in comic book, I guess, movies, and even arcs where it's, like, for example, Gotham is being destroyed. Where the fuck is Superman when all of this is happening? Like, a simple, it's just one of those issues that tend to pop up, and they've been covering
I think he started coughing. Yeah.
No, I'm good.
It's always one of the questions of where did Superman go? Where is the other hero? And I think that's always been the trick that Marvel's had. Is Marvel handles those questions with kind of a nod and a smile, and like, yeah, but we're telling you about our story, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to go back really quick to Iron Man 2, when they recast Rhodes. And it was like, wow, you recast this person. They were like, yeah, we did.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it doesn't overly bother me. Like, I think of these things, but it doesn't keep me up at night. I have other things to worry about. I just give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm there to watch the story that they present to me. I'm not going to poke too many holes often. Or else I'm just going to be an angry internet troll, warrior, keyboard warrior, etc.
Keyboard warrior, that's all.
So so I think for the most part we kind of agree on a lot of the aspects of this movie. In regards to where all this is going to go, I think that Captain Marvel, as we know as a fact, that she is clearly the strongest being, in the MCU at this point. At least you're kind of led to believe that she is.
Yeah.
So, do you think that this leads to bigger evils for the next phase, or is she just gonna, peace out for a little while more?
I mean, I think I have three thoughts on this. I think thought number one is they've kind of implied that there is now this top tier. And the top tier is Captain Marvel and probably Thanos. And then they've kind of gesticulated towards New Thor might be there. New Thor being short hair with Stormbreaker. Because, he has the Bifrost. He's got lightning powers, and he's more in control of himself, and that's a powerful character. And then kind of the three other characters in potentiae for how they develop them are Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Loki. Could all reach that level. They're not there yet, but it's pretty easy to be like, oh, Doctor Strange can just can create dimensions now.
Yep.
It's like, oh yeah, not things.
Yeah.
Also,
remember that we have Adam Warlock in the waiting. In the post-credit scene of Guardians 2 in the wings. Adam Warlock's there, and we all know is on the upper echelon of strength.
Yeah, so I think option number one is them kind of going like, yeah, we do have this higher level and deal with it. Like, that's just going to be part of the mythos now. And they have shown thus far a great deal of skill, being able to be like, why isn't Captain America dealing with this one arms dealer in Spider-Man Homecoming? And they were like, because he's got problems. Right? They were really good at being like, why aren't people dealing with this? And it's like, they are. It's not that it's not that simple of a process. I think factor number two is the Cold War of tech, of it's not too bad. It's not too hard for them to be like, look, Captain Marvel destroyed an entire Kree fleet with the element of surprise. Oh, spoiler territory, by the way, everybody. Spoiler territory. She doesn't die at the end. What a surprise.
I think we hit spoilers when we started talking about this movie.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think that part of it comes down to they're able to go look, Captain Marvel won, but that was at tech that's 20 years old, and maybe tech has caught up now. And that's always been kind of the background hint of the Marvel Universe thus far, has been the danger of technology and the danger of what if an outside context problem gets you. And I think point number 3 is this. How do I put this to words? This kind of larger conceptual framework of the MCU thus far hasn't treated power like a single variable problem. And weirdly enough, my best example for this comes from the Arrowverse, wherein on a one-on-one fight, if you dropped them in a pit with no weapons, Flash beats Arrow every single time. Mm-hmm. That's just how it works.
Yep.
But there's a wonderful scene when the Flash is being trained by Arrow, when Oliver Queen basically says, like, you're going to run at me, and I'm going to hit you with an arrow. And Flash is like, that's impossible, I'll catch it, and you won't be able to do it. And he basically Oliver Queen outthinks him, and Oliver Queen sets a trap. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you beat someone who's better than you. You don't fight them fairly. So, like, I think a good example would be, how does Iron Man fight Captain Marvel, for an example? And it's Iron Man's like, well, I don't punch her. Like,
yeah.
I created a machine that can absorb photonic rays or whatever, of like, it's increasingly about asymmetrical fighting. And that's always been a thing about the Marvel Universe, of so often the larger themes are about these asymmetrical battles taking place. Whether it's, you know, you look at Sokovia and you look at it's the impact of WMDs and the impact that like these gargantuanly powerful weapons can have, and how that changes the game. And how, you know, let's say you're Captain Marvel and you're fighting Sokovia, or fighting Fort in the Battle of Sokovia, like, what's your end game? What do you do here? Like, what do you do that they aren't able to do as a team? Because you don't add as much as I think people think they could.
Right. Oh, very well put. I like that a lot. Yeah, no, I loved it, and giving you the chance to just go at it, think it through. No, I agree that, I just think that the heroes are just gonna have to fight smarter. Also, the heroes are gonna be upgraded for, the next phase, I guess, right? Like, I guess the weakest hero at that point might even be Spider-Man at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the only movies we've got, yeah.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of questions in regards to the MCU with Captain Marvel, and that's really, where the Kree, and that entire, I guess, are we going to have Secret Wars? Is that going to be a thing? And how are we going to get there?
Good question. I don't know.
The way that this movie kind of built it up, it's like, no, it's not going to be a thing. But, we don't know. Talos even said that they're, all around the galaxy. They don't know where everyone is. They, there might be some rebellious groups within them that want to take over certain worlds because they think that they're still being, treated unfairly or what have you. So it'll be interesting to sort of see how we get there, because I think that the next phase will be Secret Wars in some shape, way, or form overall. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I want to get your opinion on how they handled the Flurkin.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was, it's. I always have an issue when there's too much comedy involved in something, and this, that, I've never been a huge fan of comedy in the middle of a movie, especially these MCU movies, for absolutely no reason. But I really thought it was well done. It was a character that we kind of we knew of the Flurkin overall. We kind of knew what they are about. We knew what they're capable of. And I thought overall it was executed really well. There's no point in getting too much into what I don't think it's going to be expanded on anymore. I think what we've seen with Goose is going to be the extent of things.
I think you might get another joke or two out of it.
Yeah, I think so overall. Yeah, but I think it's not going to be a major thing in the MCU. I think what we saw is what we saw, and we're it is that's that. But I thought it was really well done though. It goes back to the whole issue of, we have these humans, especially at that point, 25 years ago or however long ago, humans are just completely overwhelmed by these alien races. They have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to fight them. So they kind of needed backup. And that was just a quick, easy, dirty, convenient way of having that backup. Yep. That's that.
I think that the other part that is really cool about that was seeing Clark Gregg again.
Yes, that was a huge, I love that. I really he's always been one of my favorite characters in the MCU. In my opinion, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not a part of the canon anymore. So seeing him in the MCU was really cool, and you kind of see the type of character that he becomes later down the road as that sort of understanding character. And I kind of like how throughout that movie you saw nods to what their future selves are going to be.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, seeing Clark Gregg was really cool. It was really cool.
I'm really excited for a second Captain Marvel movie, because I think that them being able to just have... I think them being able to have a Captain Marvel with full power and just run around punching, with the ability to punch stuff, and then basically regularly solving problems that are the problems are basically who do you punch is a much better plot, right? And that's always been one of the things that I think that Superman does when it's at its best versus when it's at its worst. When it's at its worst, it's how do you punch hard enough?
Exactly.
When it's at its best, it's how do you punch cancer?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm really looking forward to the sequel, the inevitable sequel. I love the fact that it's doing a lot better than everyone gave it credit for. The social justice warriors or the anti-social justice warriors have nothing to stand on with this movie. This movie wasn't a political message that they thought it was going to be. And at the end of the day, it's a freaking movie. It's entertainment for 2 hours that a studio thought to bring and release to make a little bit of money.
I take the opposite point of view, because I'm of the opinion that art inherently has politics to it, right?
Well, yes, it does. It really okay. Yeah. Yes,
but,
you're right.
And then let's start from that point of view, just for this point of just let's say art has a political view, because it's pretty hard to argue against art having a political view inherently, right? Even my favorite go-to example is always Star Wars, and I'm the bad guys are literally called the Stormtroopers. I wonder what that could be referenced to. But so you now look at Captain Marvel, and it 100% had a political message. But it was one that I think ultimately was pretty benign.
Yeah.
And then you look at the fact that, what is it? It's the 6th highest grossing movie ever. Number 6.
Yep. Exactly.
So your belly aching and your complaints, such as they were, if they were effective, think about how much more loved this movie would have been. And maybe examine your position.
Yeah, well, the issue is that, people, those negative Nancys are never going to change their position. It's just, there's nothing that anyone can say or do or whatever to make them change their negativity. They're just going to stay like that, and, it's unfortunate because, you must live a very, very angry life all the time. I wonder what pleases you.
I don't know.
And I'm not to say that, the world hasn't gone a little too, quote unquote, soft or political. Everything has an issue with everything. But I think it's just, sometimes we just need to take a step back and just let things be, and it just sing some kumbaya sometimes.
Yeah, people need to chill.
Yeah, that's ultimately it. People just need to chill.
If you're downvoting and being mad at a movie before it comes out, better use your time.
Well, the thing that I've always said is, how many of these people? I know some people who don't like Brie Larson for whatever reason and just don't want to watch it because of her or whatever. And that's, to each their own. That's cool. But
sure,
but there are people out there who complain that this is all about a political statement, and it's a movie made by social justice warriors to ram something down her throat, yada yada yada.
Oh,
and
how dare there be a movie starring a woman out on International Women's Day?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good marketing. I thought you were pro-capitalist.
Exactly. My favorite part, though, is that these people complain so much that they're going to pay to watch the movie so that they can complain more.
Yeah, sure.
So they're adding to the popularity and the success of the movie, directly, just so that they can complain some more.
Number 6. That's all I have to say.
There you go. And I think that's a perfect place to leave it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so, I think we've kind of gone through everything that we wanted to really talk about today. We have so much that we want to plan, so much that we're going to talk about. Again, our first episode back, I am incredibly sick, and I'm surprised that we were able to record as long as we did. But it's awesome being back. I'm so happy that we can do this again. If you want to reach out to us, please reach out to us, and Tyler's going to let you know how you can find us.
Again, it's on Twitter at itscanonpodcast. If you want to find us on email, throw it at gmail.com at the end. If you want us on Facebook, drop the @, put a www.facebook.com at the beginning. And if you want to find us personally, I am on Twitter at Tyler R_ROI, and Boris is at BR Aguilar. That is at BRAGUILAR.
Yep, that's it. So thanks, everyone. Again, we're going to be talking more about our Patreon. We'll have next week we're going to have news of the week. Then we're going to touch our picks of the week, and then we will talk about something. What? We don't know yet, but it'll be cool. And eventually, you will be deciding what we talk about. So yeah, it's interactive. Make sure that you let us know what you thought, and thank you so much for listening, and it really does feel great being back. Later.
Woo!